pounds. 340 pounds made up of 2 100-pound sandbags and 2 70-pound sandbags. Those sandbags are not connected. We're at 6 minutes and 23 seconds, folks. These sandbags are not connected, making it truly a worm. If the team does not lift in a synchronized manner, it will not happen. They must pick it up, put it onto their shoulder, lift it over to their heads, and down to the ground again. There are no handles on the worm. You can hear team captains yelling up, over, down, up, over, down to synchronize their team to ensure they lift as one continuous fluid motion. We're at the 7-minute mark. All right, 82nd Airborne just has 3 more lifts to go. Let's hear it. 3 more lifts to go. Come on, this is grueling. Make sure we give a shout out to our Cyber Command team. Let them know they've got it. They've got it. You can do it. This is a true testament, not just of physical fitness, but also of mental toughness. You've got to grit it out. All right, and our 82nd Airborne team is to their final lift.
Guys have one more.
And if that wasn't bad enough, they've got to move the worm to the center. And now starts the burpees. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've never done a burpee, they're not fun. Your chest must touch the ground. Each teammate has to drop to the ground with their teammates and come back up and over. They have to jump over the worm 10 times, 10 burpees, synchronized before they can move on. We are just past the 9-minute mark. All right, 82nd Airborne has 2 more burpees to go, just 2 more to go. They've got to go up together, over together, and again, down together, all the way to the ground. They can't come up until the last teammate is down. They can't go over. And here we go, they're on to the final finish. They must get all of their objects back. Oh, and in a surprise, here comes the USASOC team. This is gonna be neck and neck, folks. Make sure you're cheering for your team. Who do you want to win? Do you want USASOC? You want 82nd Airborne? Let me hear you.
USASOC! Let's go, guys. Let's go, Zach. Back, yeah. Come on, get it back. Come on, Zach.
Each of these sandbags weighs between 50 and 100 pounds. The stars, some of them weigh up to 100 pounds, making them very difficult to carry and maneuver. And just when you get one sandbag to the finish, that's not enough. You got to go back for the second one. And you have to go over the wall 2 more times. Let's hear it. You got to cheer it. You got to go over the deadlift bar. Let's cheer them on to the final finish, folks. Let's hear it. Get loud.
Go, guys. Big work, big work. Come on, Kevin, let's go, buddy. Come on, let's go. Let's go, Kevin. Come on, Kevin. Let's go, Kevin. Let's go, buddy. Let's go, Kevin. Finish strong, Kevin.
All right, it's down to the wire.
All the way in, Kevin. All the way in.
Unofficial time, 11:21 for the USASOC team. Let's give a hand for 82nd Airborne. They're almost complete. We're creeping up on the 12-minute mark. All right, the last two teammates are almost complete. But we can't forget about our Cyber Command team. They're on their burpees. They're on their last two events. A reminder, that star weighs either 70 or 100 pounds. It's no light load to the finish. Let's go, 82nd. You're almost there. Unofficial time of 12:31 for our 82nd Airborne team. Give them a hand, folks. All right, and our Cyber Command team has moved to the final obstacle. They must get their sandbags all the way to the finish to complete the round. There's the first sandbag to the finish line, and he returns back to get one more bag. You got this. Keep cheering them on, folks. They're almost done. And it's one more trip over the wall to retrieve one more sandbag each. This is where mental toughness truly comes into play. It takes so much mental grit and determination to get that final sandbag to the finish line to be complete. And you'll notice teammates running back to help their teammates, to make sure they get over the wall, to make sure those sandbags to get back. That's it, folks. Let them know. They're almost done. The last sandbag is in movement. We're coming up on 15 minutes. All the way to the end, gentlemen. All the way to the end. You've got this. Pain is temporary. Glory is forever. All right, and here comes the last sandbag. All the way to the end. Here they come to the finish line, folks. With an unofficial time of 15:22. All right, we're going to get reset for the next heat. Be sure to stay with us, folks.
For 250 years, the U.S. Army has defended its people, land, and the American way of life. At the dawn of our nation, farmers, craftsmen, and patriots stood against the mightiest empire in the world. These citizen soldiers took up arms to fight for independence and prevailed. At Lexington and Concord and through the bitter winter at Valley Forge, the Army fought for and secured our nation's freedom. 30 years later, in the War of 1812, the Army faced another test as British forces marched on our young republic. At Fort McHenry, under relentless bombardment, the Army held firm. "This will defend" was not just a rallying cry, it was a promise that ensured the sovereignty of our country. Then, the greatest test of all, the Civil War, pitted brother against brother in a nation divided. The Army fought not just for land, but for the preservation of the Union and for freedom. At Gettysburg, at Antietam, and beyond, they defended their belief in a unified country, which shaped the future of our nation. The Army has remained committed to defending the nation against all enemies. Join us as we celebrate the Army's 250-year history. This will defend. "250 years. That's how long the U.S. Army has stood watch over this great nation, defending our freedom through every storm. In the bloodiest battles of the 20th century, American soldiers answered the call, fighting wherever liberty was at risk. In 1917, as the world was consumed by war, the U.S. Army entered a conflict like no other. In the trenches of France, soldiers faced barbed wire, poison gas, and relentless artillery. At Cantigny, they launched their first major assault. At Saint-Mihiel, they executed a swift and decisive attack, proving American strength. And during the Meuse-Argonne offensive, the largest battle in U.S. history, they shattered enemy lines, helping bring the war to its end. In 1941, when the world plunged into war yet again, the Army was ready. From the deserts of North Africa to the hedgerows of France, from the islands of the Pacific to the streets of Berlin, U.S. soldiers carried the weight of the free world. On June 6, 1944, they stormed the beaches of Normandy, charging through the surf and gunfire, and climbing cliffs against overwhelming odds. Victory was never certain, but they fought fiercely and triumphed. Their fight wasn't just for America. It was for millions silenced by tyranny. 5 years after World War II, another struggle for freedom erupted. In Korea, the Army faced not only a determined enemy, but brutal winters and impossible odds. In the Battle of Incheon, their fierce fighting forced the North Korean Army to retreat. At the Pusan perimeter, they held the line. And in the frozen hills of Chosin, they fought with every ounce of strength to defend liberty. Through the blood.
And they're starting off strong. A reminder, they have to go over the deadlift bar when they're carrying the sandbag. Up the rope, grab a sandbag, and run to the end. The teams have had just enough time this morning to come up with a game plan. When they went through their walkthrough, they developed a strategy. But as everybody knows, sometimes the first laid plans don't go as well as expected. So it's also up to them to change their plan on the fly if things aren't going the way they expected. right, most of the sandbags are down at the finish line. We've got a couple more to go for the Army Materiel Command. Which means we're on our last rope climbs and they're gonna move to the second station. Once all teammates have climbed the rope to the top twice, they can move on to the second event.
All
right, and our first team is on to the 100-calorie hold. A reminder, this is a 500-pound deadlift bar. 4 teammates will pick up the deadlift bar 5 times. At the top of the 5th deadlift, they must hold until their teammate is complete at 20 calories on the exercise bike. If you've never done a deadlift is all about leg strength. It's that lower body strength. And that's what you're doing on the bike too, so they're truly smoking their legs right now. The first 5 deadlifts are not so bad. You get the 5th one done, you hold it, and you think this isn't so bad. And then you get on the exercise bike, and then you do your other rounds of deadlifts. By the 5th time of doing deadlifts, they're exhausted, ladies and gentlemen. They're worn out, and it starts to become a mental toughness game. And now after completing a cardio event, when you're out of breath and you're already tired and your grip is sweaty, you must pick up the deadlift bar 5 times. And you must hold it until your teammate completes the bike. This must be done as a team, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't do any good to lift it as one person. It's 500 pounds. One person cannot lift it alone. You can hear the team captains yelling, up, down, hold, up, down. There's chalk at the deadlift station as they frantically try to improve their grip strength so that they don't slip on the bar. They go up as a team, down as a team, 5 times. We are just over 5 minutes, ladies and gentlemen, just over 5 minutes, and they're on the second event. All right, and our first team is going over the wall and headed to the worm. 5 calories to go, you got it. All right, our first team is at the worm, and a reminder, this worm weighs 340 pounds and is made up of sandbags that are not linked together. If you do not lift this as a synchronized team, it will not go well. There are no handles on the bag. They must grip it, pick it up onto their shoulder, lift it over their head as a unified team before it goes down to the ground again. They must do this 10 times. 10 times, 340 pounds. If they've already done 25 sets of 500-pound deadlifts, this is not an easy or simple task. Our USA Europe Africa Command team has the lead right now, but joining right behind them is our Military District of Washington team. And we are just over 7 minutes. A lot can change here. All right, and our USAREF team is starting their burpees. Their chests have to all touch the ground. They have to go down as a team. They have to come up as a team. We hear teammates yelling commands of 3, 2, 1, up. And for their burpees, they can't just walk over the worm, they have to jump over the worm. This truly is an arduous test of full body strength. We are just over the 8-minute mark. All right, our USA Europe Africa Command team is headed back to the finish line with their sandbags. They have to get the sandbags over the walls. One more time, they have to go over the deadlift bar. It doesn't count if they don't go over the bar. And a reminder, each of these sandbags weighs somewhere between 50 and 100 pounds each. And each teammate must carry 2 bags all the way back to the finish line. Let's hear it. They're so close to the finish. They've got 5 bags at the end. They're on their way back for their last bags. All right, we are just over the 9-minute mark. You got it, man. You got it. They're so close to the finish line, ladies and gentlemen. Give them a big round of applause. Cheer them on. All right, and our team over here, they're on to their burpees. All right, just under 10 minutes. Our USA Europe Africa Command team has finished just over 10 minutes. This heat isn't over, ladies and gentlemen. These soldiers will go all the way to the end, and now comes the mental grit. Now they have to grit their teeth and get through the final obstacle. All right, coming up on 11 minutes.
Let's go!
All right, let's hear it for our Military District of Washington team on their last obstacle. And it looks like Army Materiel Command team is getting ready to start their burpees. 10 burpees.
Let's go, Trev. Keep pushing. Keep pushing. You got this. Go, LDW. Way to push through. Way to push through.
Looks like our Military District of Washington team is on their last set of bags. Cheer them on as they head to the finish. We're just over 12 minutes, ladies and gentlemen, just over 12 minutes, and our last two soldiers for the Military District of Washington team have their final iterations of the sandbag carry. It's a 100-pound sandbag carry to the finish. They got to get the bag over the wall and all the way to the finish line. And here comes Army Materiel Command. They've got the first sandbag over the wall, and here comes the first soldier over the wall. This is a true test of physical and mental endurance, ladies and gentlemen. All right, and we're on the home stretch here. All the way to the finish, and rounds complete. An unofficial time of 13 minutes and 14 seconds. All right, in Army Materiel Command, they're almost done. They've just got a couple more sandbags to carry. The coaches are calling out, last trip. They've just got to get these last sandbags up and over the wall and to the finish line to be complete. You can see strategy at play as they make sure the bag stays on the wall so they don't have to pick it up from the ground. The teammates are helping each other to make sure that they've got what it takes to get all the way to the finish line. He's going to go over the deadlift bar all the way to the end. A reminder that he's carrying a 100-pound sandbag all the way to the finish line. I need you guys to give them a little bit of encouragement, guys. This is exhausting work. Cheer them on. Help them gut it out. Right now, it's all about mental strength. This is that last little bit of willpower to get all the way to the finish line. And there's just one sandbag left to go. That star does not make it easy to carry. There are no handles. You have to lift it up and over the wall. And then you yourself have to get up and over the wall. One last time, all the way to the finish line. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. All the way to the finish line. Cheer him home over the dead bar. Talk him through it, cheer him through it, all the way to the end. You're almost there. And they're complete! With an unofficial time of 16 minutes and 6 seconds. Minutes before we start.
From its founding in 1775, the U.S. Army has defended freedom. Older than the nation itself, the Army has been the shield of our nation, democracy, and way of life, standing strong through the battlefields of the past and challenges of today. Throughout our 250-year heritage, the courage and dedication of our brave men and women have shaped us into the world's premier fighting force. Inspired by the next generation of soldiers, we remain committed to modernization, lethality, and readiness to face tomorrow's threats. Join us in celebrating the Army's 250th anniversary.
Competitors must carry their sandbags over the deadlift bar, over the wall, all the way to the finish line. If they don't make it over the bar, they have to turn around and go back. Each teammate must climb the 15-foot rope not once, but twice. And they must carry a sandbag not once, but twice, all the way to the finish line before moving on to the second event. The The rope climb does not count if they do not touch the metal plate with their hand at the top.
You always have those guys in the unit.
You'll notice soldiers using an assortment of ways to climb the rope. Some of them just using upper body strength. Some of them using what's called a J hook. Some of them using an S hook. It doesn't matter, it's an individual preference. All that matters is you get all the way to the top. And as the last teammates begin their runs back after dropping off their sandbags, they'll move on to the second event, the 100-calorie hold. All right, our first team has moved to the second event. They've got a 500-pound deadlift bar. They've got an assault bike. The soldier must pedal for 20 calories as his teammate lifts the 500-pound deadlift bar 5 times. At the top of the 5th lift, they must hold it until the soldier completes 20 calories on the assault bike. And note that this wall is so much easier for our taller soldiers. But getting over it when you're a little bit shorter is more difficult. Synchronization on this dead bar is key. They must lift this bar as one unified team. They're cheering on their teammates as they hold for those last few calories on the bike, all the way to 20 calories. It doesn't sound like much if you're just riding the bike, but remember, they've already sprinted to the finish line twice. They've already carried 2 bags ranging from 50 to 100 pounds, and they've climbed the rope twice. 20 calories on the exercise bike and deadlifts is a lot. Your quads are smoking, your core is smoking, your upper body is worn out. This is a grueling test of the ultimate physical fitness. Each soldier cannot start pedaling until the deadlift bar is off the ground. We're just over 4 minutes here on the second event. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise. This test is just as much about mental toughness as it is physical fitness. You can see them grab chalk to tighten their grip on the bar as it's slippery from lots of sweat. It's hot out here, folks. Five deadlifts and a hold at the top. 20 calories on the assault bike. 5 times. There's strategy to the deadlift bar. You want to make sure that your tallest soldiers aren't in the middle, because you have to be standing all the way straight when the dead bar lift comes all the way up. You can hear sideline coaches yelling at them, get into a rhythm, pick it up, you've got this. It doesn't matter if you're competing against another team, you still want to root on your competitors. All right, and we've got our first team headed over the wall to the worm. We are just over 6.5 minutes. All right, they're on to the worm. A reminder, this worm weighs 340 pounds, made up of 2 100-pound sandbags, 2 70-pound sandbags, and they're not linked, making it a very flimsy obstacle. You must lift as a team. You must synchronize, and you must lift it 10 times. 10 times from the ground, over your head, and down to the ground again. Team captains are making sure their team is synchronized by calling commands to make sure that they lift this as one unified unit. This grueling event demonstrates that our Army soldiers truly are among the most fit individuals on this planet, ready to defend and be at our nation's call. All right, our second team is coming over the wall, getting ready to start the worm lifts. All right, and they're getting their strategy ready as they prepare to lift the worm up and over their head. The plan is almost as important as the actual brute strength of lifting. When the plan goes wrong, it doesn't go well. All right, and our first team is moving on to the burpees. Down together as a unit. Up together as a unit, and they must jump over the worm bag. They don't get to walk, they have to jump. Their chests have to touch the ground. Each teammate must be all the way down, chest all the way to the ground before they can go to the next burpee. 10 burpees. Just 5 more burpees to go. Let's hear it. This is exhausting, folks. A reminder, these teams have been training for these events for quite some time now, and you can see just how physically exhausting this test is. It truly is the ultimate test of Army physical fitness. We're coming up on 10 minutes, folks, and our first team is on to the final event. They've got 2 sandbags to carry back to the start. They must carry only 1 sandbag at a time. Each sandbag ranges between 50 and 100 pounds. They have to get the sandbag up over the wall. They have to get over the wall, and they have to get it all the way to the finish line. You got this, man. You got it. You can see just how exhausting this work is as they carry the sandbags. He said he's not tired. He's got more in the tank. That is one motivated soldier right there, ladies and gentlemen. He said he could do it again. Woo! All right, and our middle team just 2 lifts to go before they start their burpees. A reminder that these stars weigh anywhere between 50 to 100 pounds. There are no handles on them. They are difficult and awkward to carry, and they have to get them up over the bar before they go up and over the bar. All the way to the finish line. Cheer them home, ladies and gentlemen. Cheer them home. No teammate left behind. We're on our final sandbag carry. You got it. Cheer them on. Over the deadlift bar to the house. All the way to the end. Unofficial time, 12 minutes, 6 seconds. All right, and we're on to burpees, ladies and gentlemen. These are the bane of many a soldier's existence. The burpee is a miserable exercise. It requires true, full body strength. Legs, core, upper body, all the way to the ground, all the way up, and a jump over the worm. And once you've done 10 of those, it's on to the wall. That first sandbag, maybe that one's not so bad. All the way to the finish line, but then you got to come back for another. There's no wrong way to carry the sandbag. It's just an individual preference. However you choose to get it home. All right, it's neck and neck for our last 2 teams. All the way to the end, ladies and gentlemen, all the way to the end.
Hell yeah. Come on, guys. Hell yeah. Great work, great work. Oh yeah. There you go. Good work. Good job, man. Keep going, keep going. Let it go, let it go. There you go, baby. Let's go. You that strong? Let's go, baby. Good finish. Turn and go. Hell yeah. Hey, go work.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's close.
Come on. Don't rest. Oh yeah. Rest when it's over. Let's go, baby. You almost there. Don't jump it. Let's go.
These last couple of sandbags can make all the difference in a second or third place finish.
Go get the heavy. Almost there, baby. Let's go. Ah. Let's go. Finish up. Let's go. Turn and go. Don't rest. Do not rest. Oh yeah. Come on. Let's go. Hey, good work. Good work. Good work. Good work. Help your team. They need you.
A reminder, ladies and gentlemen, these are our Army's fittest soldiers. This is the Army's fittest soldier competition. This is the ultimate test of physical and mental strength and determination. It requires true mental toughness, physical toughness, endurance, and stamina. It requires a strategy and a game plan. All the way to the finish line. And an unofficial time of 14 minutes and 51 seconds. Our last team is on to their last sandbag. Cheer them on to the finish. Cheer them on, encourage them to get it all the way to the end. One last trip over the wall. One last carry all the way to the finish line. Up and over the deadlift bar, all the way to the finish line. He's so close. Cheer him on, ladies and gentlemen. And we're done. With an unofficial time of 15 minutes and 48 seconds.
Get set. Begin.
This competition improves soldiers in many ways. You're getting tested on all of your skill level 1, skill level 2 tasks. Essentially, at any point, they can be thrown into a situation like, hey, your squad leader just went down. Team leader, what are you going to do in this situation at that point? So it's really testing the lethality of each squad and what they have to offer from each center of excellence.
This competition means a lot to me. For me, it means like professional growth, personal development. It just means I get to be a part of a squad, get to know my buddies a lot more being out here. This will defend means to me that we are defending our nation. We're going to step up to the plate and we will make all the sacrifices necessary.
This will defend means to me is that we're always going to step up to the challenge no matter what it may be, never leave a fallen comrade, everything of that nature. No matter what the challenge is, the United States of America is always going to step forward and close with and destroy the enemy.
From its founding in 1775, the U.S. Army has defended freedom. Older than the nation itself, the Army has been the shield of our nation, democracy, and way of life, standing strong through the battlefields of the past and challenges of today. Throughout our 250-year heritage, the courage and dedication of our brave men and women have shaped us into the world's premier fighting force. Inspired by the next generation of soldiers, we remain committed to modernization, lethality, and readiness to face tomorrow's threats. Join us in celebrating the Army's 250th anniversary, a multi-year campaign as we honor the past and embrace the future on installations around the world and throughout local communities across the nation. Together, we commemorate the Army's legacy, forged in the fires of combat.
All right, we are just under 30 seconds. Competitors, make sure you're behind your platforms. Seconds. 3, 2, 1, go! All right, and they're off, ladies and gentlemen. They are carrying their sandbags. A reminder, each of those sandbags weighs between 50 and 100 pounds. Right now, it's light work. It's easy to get to the finish line. They're sprinting over the walls. They're vaulting over that bar. They're flying up the rope. But this is just the first event. This is just the start of the ultimate Army physical fitness test. Cheer her on, folks. It doesn't count if she doesn't make it to the top. All the way to the top, she must touch the plate with her hand. And our first two teams have most of their sandbags at the finish. It's down to just the last few climbing the rope. Each competitor must climb the rope 2 times. Once all the teammates are back to the start, then they can move on to the second event. Right now it's neck and neck. 25th and 3rd ID. Cheer them on. It's so close. That 25th ID has gone on to the first event. But here comes 3rd ID right behind them for the 100 calorie hold. The rider on the bike cannot begin until the deadlift bar comes off the ground. That deadlift bar weighs 500 pounds. Each team member must lift the bar in unison together. They must do 5 deadlifts and then hold. They'll hold the bar until their teammate completes 20 calories on the assault bike. You can hear them encouraging their teammates, pedal faster. Pedal fast as you can to get to 20 calories. And then they swap out. Each teammate has to ride the bike for 20 calories. Each teammate has to join on the deadlifts for 5 iterations. All right, and our U.S. Army recruiting is on their last set of sandbags. They're almost to the second event. All right, and our teammates are swapping out. 25th ID and 3rd Infantry Division are neck and neck. There is strategy to the deadlift bar. You can go slower or you can go quickly. Either way, you have to hold at the final rep until your soldier is finished on the exercise bike. 20 calories. You can hear team captains calling out strategy, saying who's going to be next on the bike. There's strategy to that. Who's your fittest? Who's going on the bike last once their legs are fully smoked? This is truly an exhaustive event. It doesn't matter that they've trained for months. This is the ultimate test of physical fitness, of mental toughness, of true grit and determination, folks. These are our fittest soldiers. Right now you can hear coaches yelling, keep your mind sharp. This is a mental game. Stay tough, stay strong. Your muscles are screaming at you. This is an enduring agony. And it all comes down to who is physically and mentally the toughest. This is truly neck and neck between 25th and 3rd ID. And it's 3rd ID in first, over the bar, onto the worm. We're just at the 5-minute mark, just over. They're truly blazing through this exercise. They're onto the worm, 340 pounds. 340 pounds made up of individual sandbags, 2 100-pound sandbags, 2 70-pound sandbags that they must lift in synchronized fashion up onto their shoulders, over their heads, and down to the ground again. If they fail to lift it in unison, it will not go well. The worm will collapse on them, potentially sending one of them to the ground. They must lift in synchronized fashion. 10 repetitions. 10 lifts of 340 pounds, up and over and down. All right, we're down to 5 left for 3rd ID. And we're down to 5 left for 25th. It is truly neck and neck. This will be the make or break event. How quickly can they lift this 340-pound worm up and over their heads? This is where it comes down to true mental grit and determination. deadlifts, 10 synchronized deadlifts, burpees, 10 synchronized burpees. Their chest must touch the ground. Their bodies must touch the ground. They must jump up and over the worm. Up, down, and up again, 10 times. It is neck and neck between 25th and 3rd Infantry Divisions. We're just over 7.5 minutes on the last two events. And here we go, third ID is moving to the sandbags. All right, our first sandbag is up and over the wall. Here comes third ID in first place. It's going to be down to the wire between 25th and 3rd ID. Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to want to stick around through all of these heats. In just a short while, we will crown the unit with the Army's fittest soldiers. Right now, it is neck and neck between 3rd ID and 25th ID. They must go over the deadlift bar. They must go over the wall. They must get 2 sandbags each. And it's looking like 3rd ID is going to come down on top. Ladies and gentlemen, let them hear you make some noise. This is the last final grueling event of the heat. All the way to the finish. And remember, they're not just competing against people in their heat. They're competing against everyone. Their time matters. All right, we're down to the last 2 sandbags for 3rd ID. Gut it out. Run it to the finish line. Last sandbag, all the way to the finish line. Over the deadlift bar, all the way to the end. He's gonna sprint it out, folks. All the way to the end. Run it out. For an unofficial time of 9 minutes, 35 seconds, folks. 9 minutes, 35 seconds for 3rd Infantry Division. And now 25th ID is doing their best to catch up. They've got 1 sandbag left. All the way to the finish line, over the deadlift bar. He's sprinting it out, all for the glory. For an unofficial time of 9 minutes, 59 seconds. But ladies and gentlemen, we cannot forget our U.S. Army recruiting. They're on the worm. Cheer them on. This is a test of mental toughness at this point. They're gutting it out, and here they go to the burpees. 10 burpees, chest to the ground, up off the ground, jump over the worm, back down again. Their coaches are yelling, dig in, team, gut it out. This is mental toughness. This is about grueling grit and determination. Everyone on the sidelines is cheering them on, letting them know, you've got this, all the way to the finish line. All right, let's go, U.S. Army recruiting. You're so close. 2 more burpees left to go. 1 more burpee. All right, and it's on to the finish line. Each teammate has to get their 2 sandbags over the wall and back to the finish line for a final sprint in the ultimate test of physical fitness. And they've got the first sandbag over. lift bar. There is an element of teamwork at play. And a reminder that when this is done, you get a well-deserved break. But right now, it is a mental test. This is the last bit of mental determination and strength display. They don't stop until they hit the finish line with that last sandbag. Cheer them on, let them know. Coming up on 13 minutes, folks.
Yeah. 1, 2. Ready? Right there. 1, 2.
Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you stick around. Once this competition is complete, we will move to the stage shortly after for the awards celebration. We will recognize the Army's fittest soldier, the fittest team across the Army. A reminder, we've got one more heat after this before we move on to the awards, before we find out who are the Army's fittest soldiers. But right now, we're not complete. U.S. Army recruiting is almost at the finish line. They're on their last sandbags. All they have to do is sprint it out to the finish. The last soldier is over the wall, and here they come, all the way to the finish line. Sprint it out, run it out. This is the last few steps to the finish line. Got it out, let's go! All the way!
Good work.
With an unofficial time of 14 minutes, 21 seconds. Way to go!
From its founding in 1775, the U.S. Army has defended freedom. Older than the nation itself, the Army has been the shield of our nation, democracy, and way of life, standing strong through the battlefields of the past and challenges of today. Throughout our 250-year heritage, the courage and dedication of our brave men and women have shaped us into the world's premier fighting force. Inspired by the next generation of soldiers, we remain committed to modernization, lethality, and readiness to face tomorrow's threats. Join us in celebrating the Army's 250th anniversary, a multi-year campaign as we honor the past and embrace the future on installations around the world and throughout local communities across the nation. Together, we commemorate the Army's legacy, forged in the fires of conflict and defined by courage. The U.S. Army, proudly serving for 250 years. Established June 14, 1775. This will defend. For 250 years, the U.S. Army has defended its people, land, and the American way of life. At the dawn of our nation, farmers, craftsmen, and patriots stood against the mightiest empire in the world. These citizen soldiers took up arms to fight for independence and prevailed. At Lexington and Concord and through the bitter winter at Valley Forge, the Army fought for and secured our nation's freedom. 30 years later, in the War of 1812, the Army faced another test as British forces marched on our young republic. At Fort McHenry, under relentless bombardment, the Army held firm. "This will defend" was not just a rallying cry, it was a promise that ensured the sovereignty of our country. Then, the greatest test of all, the Civil War, pitted brother against brother in a nation divided. The Army fought not just for land, but for the preservation of the Union and for freedom. At Gettysburg, at Antietam, and beyond, they defended their belief in a unified country, which shaped the future of our nation. The Army has remained committed to defending the nation against all enemies. Join us as we celebrate the Army's 250-year history. This will defend.
Ten seconds. Three, two, one, go! They must run over the barbells, ladies and gentlemen. This first round of sandbags is relatively easy. They're sprinting to the finish line, they're vaulting over the wall, and they're barreling up the rope. They're starting off strong, but this is only the first event in what is the ultimate physical fitness test for the Army to determine who in the Army is the fittest soldier. To my far in the first lane is the Medical Center of Excellence. I've got some Medical Center of Excellence fans. In the middle lane, 101st Airborne Division. All right, I got some airborne fans. And closest to me is the Army National Guard Endurance Team. All right, and it looks like our first two teams are on their last rounds of getting the sandbags to the finish line. Each teammate must climb the rope twice. Each teammate must carry 2 sandbags. Those sandbags range in weights between 50 and 100 pounds. Once all teammates have climbed the rope twice, once all teammates have gotten their sandbags to the finish line, then they can move on to the second event. All right, and it looks like it's going to be 101st on to the second round first. And right behind them is the Army National Guard. A reminder, this deadlift bar is a total of 500 pounds. They must do 5 deadlift reps and then hold on the 5th rep. They must hold until their teammate has completed 20 calories on the exercise bike. Ladies and gentlemen, 20 calories on that bike doesn't seem much when that's all you're doing. But reminder, they've already carried 2 sandbags to the finish line. They've already climbed the rope twice. And by the end of this iteration, they will have lifted a 500-pound bar 5 times, 5 times. This is a true test of the strength of your lower body right now, of your core strength. It requires every muscle group in your body to participate. They cannot start the bike until the deadlift bar is off the ground. And there's a strategy to it. Do you lift quickly and hold for longer? Do you lift slower and hold for less? Each team has their own strategy, their own unique plan. Each team captain is calling out commands to make sure that the bar is lifted in synchronized form, in unison, to make sure that each person carries his fair share. And it looks like the National Guard team is moving right along. Let's cheer them on, folks. Let them hear you make some noise. You can hear them shouting chants of dig, 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 pedal, 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 go faster. That weight becomes excruciating to hold as you finish the last few calories on the bike. And just when you finish the cardio test, just when your heart and lungs are pumping as fast as they can, then you have to go and lift the bar. And here we go. It looks like it's pretty close between 101st and the National Guard. Right now is where it starts to become a mental test. How deep can you dig? What mental toughness do you possess when every muscle in your body is screaming for rest, but you must keep going? Five more deadlifts, 1 hold, 20 calories on the exercise bike, and this is only the second event. And it looks like it's pretty neck and neck between 101st and the National Guard. Who's going to come out on top? Right now they're digging in with all they have. And here goes the National Guard. Up and over the wall and onto the worm. 101st isn't too far behind them. There is still a chance for them to catch up, but right now the National Guard Endurance team is in the lead. And here they go. We're coming up on 6 minutes, ladies and gentlemen, and the National Guard is blazing through. 340 pounds up and over their heads, down to the ground again. That worm is made up of 2 100-pound sandbags and 2 70-pound sandbags. It has no handles on it, and the bags are not linked together, meaning that if you don't pick it up as a team, it becomes an unbearable weight from one of your teammates. You must pick it up in synchronized fashion. Here comes the 101st. Are they going to be able to catch up with the National Guard team? Looks like the National Guard team is down to 4 burpees, or 4 worm lifts, before they move on to burpees. One worm clean left for the National Guard, and here they go, on to the burpees. They must complete 10 burpees in unison. Chests all down to the ground, up together, over the worm, back down again, 10 times. 10 repetitions of burpees. Will the 101st be able to catch up? Once again, every muscle in their bodies are screaming for rest. They want to break, but they can't. This is an ultimate test of mental grit and determination, all for claiming the name as the Army's fittest soldier. The ultimate glory in the search for Army physical fitness. This is a true test of endurance and strength. And the National Guard has moved on to the final event, and here they go with their sandbags. A reminder, these sandbags weigh between 50 and 100 pounds. Each soldier must carry 2 all the way to the finish line. They must get the bag and themselves over the wall, not once, but twice, all the way to the finish line before they can be done.
Good work.
And here we go, the 101st has moved on to the burpees. One last strength event before they carry the bags to the finish line.
Good work.
And the National Guard is on to their last set of sandbags. They're going to sprint to the finish line. They're almost complete. They have to get it over the wall, over the deadlift bar. And we're just under 9 minutes right now. They could catch up to the first place team. It's going to be really close, folks. 2 more bags to go. Minutes, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be so close. Sprint it out, gut it out, all the way to the finish.
All the way through. Good work. Let's go,
All right, we're at 9:20. So close. Here they go all the way to the finish line. They're running to the finish line. It's going to be neck and neck. And time, an unofficial time of 9 minutes, 37 seconds. Ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be close. So close. And the 101st isn't far behind them. They're on their sandbags now. This is the last bit of grueling determination, mental strength. Can you gut it out and get home all the way to the finish line? Your teammates are counting on you. Ladies and gentlemen, this is all for the Army's fittest competition. Who will be crowned the Army's fittest unit? Ladies and gentlemen, cheer them on. This is our final heat, our last set of teams before we crown the winner of the Army's fittest soldier. You can hear their teammates yelling to their teammates, finish it, carry it all the way through, let's go, gut it out. All right, and the last sandbag is up off the ground. They're on the final stretch. And our medical team, they're on to their burpees. They're on to their last event before going home. All right, our last sandbag, it's on the wall. All he has to do is get it to the finish line. One final carry. How fast can you get it back there? All the way to the end, gut it out. All right, an unofficial time for 101st with 11 minutes, 20 seconds. All right, our last team of the day is our Medical Center of Excellence. They're at 11 minutes and 40 seconds under their final burpees before they have to carry their sandbags home. Ladies and gentlemen, be sure you stick around for the award ceremony where we will crown the Army's fittest soldiers. Teams from around the Army have been here today competing to show us just who truly is the Army's fittest. Just 2 more burpees. right, one last burpee to go before they can head home. Cheer them on, let them know. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been a true test today, a true demonstration of what it takes to be not just the Army's fittest, but to be in the Army, to defend our nation, to be there mentally, physically, tough, to get after it, to grit through it, no matter how hard you hurt, no matter how bad it is, to make sure you and your teammates get all the way to the finish line. And ladies and gentlemen, that's what it's truly all about as we celebrate the Army's 250th birthday today. We are just over 13 minutes, and they're on the final home stretch. A reminder, these bags are not light. They're not easy to carry. They weigh somewhere between 50 and 100 pounds each. All the way to the end, over the deadlift bar, you got it.
Hey, good job, good job, good job.
This is when every muscle in your body starts screaming at you to stop, to take a break, that I need some rest, give me a break. And you can't, you can hear the screams of determination. They are gritting it out, they are fighting all the way to the end. A true fitness test, a true mental toughness test. They're going all the way. We are just over 14 minutes. And they're on their last few sandbags. They're exhausted, they're worn out, but they keep coming back for more because the Army truly depends on them. Up and over the wall. Pick up your sandbag, carry it home. One more sandbag to go. All the way. You got it, man. Grit it out. You got this. This is temporary. The glory will last forever. The bragging rights are forever. Those stars are so awkward and heavy to carry, but you got it. One last sandbag. One last carry all the way to the finish line. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise. This is the last carry of the day. The last demonstration of strength and mental toughness for the day. A 100-pound sandbag, our lucky star, all the way to the end. All right, all the way to the end. He's got that 100-pound sandbag, and he's sprinting it as fast as he can go all the way to the end. Over the deadlift bar, all the way to the end. So close now. All the way, here he goes, ladies and gentlemen, make some noise! Yeah! With an official time of 15 minutes, 39 seconds, way to go! Everybody give our soldiers a round of applause today! And give it up for yourselves. Thank you for being out here and cheering on our Army's fittest soldiers. Please make sure you join us shortly. We'll move to the stage and we will crown our victors today shortly. Thank you.